We the People, Take 2, Episode 8. I'm Sean. I'm with Shannon.
Hello.
Louie. Special guest star, Jess.
Hello.
Very special episode of Convenience Store War Stories.
Oh, the decade we spent in the 7-Eleven.
The trenches. Call it what it is. The trenches.
Trenches.
Basically, this episode is an intervention on Louie, who's trying to break into the service industry, and yet somehow cannot get a job in the service industry.
But ask anyone. Everyone's hiring.
Yeah, everyone's
just because
hiring.
he doesn't want it bad enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a car.
Well, no, I wanted to get experience, like, even just, my plan is just to go to bartending school and become a bartender in a gay bar, because I would make a killing doing that. But I figure I might as well get used to just any shitty, like fast food, whatever, because I've never done it before. Yeah, just kind of, like, get used to that a little bit.
Well, if you like to be punished, it's a good choice.
It's not like working in fast food. It's not like it's a difficult job because the tasks that you do in themselves isn't difficult. It's you have so much to do at once, along with all the rules you have to follow for like food safety and things of that sort. And then you have to deal with the people, and people are generally pretty bitchy when it comes to their food.
Yeah, if you have any shred of hope for humanity left, work a service industry job, and that'll take it out of you real quick.
It will all go away.
Like I have never been more cynical in my life until I started working at a convenience store.
Well, I think working in a gay bar would be different.
I think so, too.
I don't know.
Yeah, they don't give anyone shit in a gay bar. The bartenders or anything.
I've never actually been to a gay bar, so I can't speak of it. I know in normal bars, you're generally pretty nice to the bartender because they're the ones serving you drinks.
And you can actually get thrown out. You usually have bouncers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you ever want to go to a bar and not have to worry about people getting into a fist fight behind you, go to a gay bar.
Well,
I always had a good time.
I can't say that I've ever been to a bar where I've had the concern of a fist fight going on.
really?
All right, unless I started it, okay?
Because every time I've been to a bar with you, you've tried to start a fist fight.
All right, so I'm kind of a mean drunk.
Speaking
Next
of-
topic.
Speaking of drunks, me and Jess both used to work at a 7-Eleven next to a bar.
Indeed, we did.
That was fun.
Your definition of fun is very different than mine. See, I always got to work
How's
the
your
Sunday
definition of sarcasm?
mornings, and I got to see the walk of shame.
Okay, anybody have any fun stories? Who wants to go first? Something horrible happening to a vehicle of yours?
I was just thinking the same
So,
thing
like, I
when
have,
the
like-
7-Eleven
I have-
sign fell on my fucking
I have-
Trans
Oh my
Am.
God,
Well, I
remember
have,
that.
yes, I have the sign falling on your car, and then I have the road rage incident that caused you to be like 3 or 4 hours late one day. Like somebody like hit the mirror off your
Oh,
Durango.
the Durango, yeah.
And then you
He
went
like
on a
swerved over.
Yeah, you went on like a revenge quest or some shit. You ended up late for work.
Yeah, I still will not get off of that exit on the expressway because of that happening.
Well, I
I don't
guess-
even have the Durango anymore.
I guess we'll talk about the sign falling on your car.
I was stuck working midnights that night because everybody loved to just shuffle my schedule around.
Well, I thought at that time you wanted to work midnights.
I never wanted to work midnights. I wanted the hours, and that required me to work midnights and afternoons and days all in the same week.
You were working midnights. I was working midnights at a different store because this owner owned, I think he only owned the 2 stores at the time.
At the time, I think it was just the 2.
Eventually he owned like four 7-Elevens and a Cold Stone. Like I was the midnight guy who was like bouncing between stores. So that night I was at the one store and you were at the other store.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think there was a storm or anything. I just was working and looked out.
So what had happened was a week or 2 prior, they had changed the lights in the sign.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't close the plastic cap properly. So it was just kind of like swing. Anytime there was a stiff breeze, it would swing open. And I had told the manager about it, never gotten taken care of. He's like, I don't know what to do about that. And it's like, well, can you call? Oh, I can't call anybody. I don't know what to do. So nothing ever happened. I'm working at the one store. I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Of me screaming into the phone that the fucking sign just fell on my car. And it was, of course, my Firebird that I didn't drive very often. and it hit the T-top and it cracked it. And I was ballistic because the car, even at the time, was already a collector's item. It was a very unique car,
I
probably.
heard it stuck out like a pair of spats at an Iowa picnic.
So when my relief came in, I had to do a bunch of stuff, and I didn't even get home till 5 o'clock that night. Yeah, because I had to go to different collision shops to
And
get estimates because the store was absolutely paying for the damage.
and then once again, the manager was there, Glenn,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, all right, I guess we have to. He's like, I need you to clean up the sign. Like, okay, so I'm like, start picking up Char's sign. I start walking him over to the dumpster, which is on the opposite side of the parking lot. He's like, no, what are you doing, man?
He had you throw
And then
them all in the. He threw them all in the ditch.
He helped me drag them into the ditch because there's like a ditch like in front of the between the parking lot and the road.
Yep.
Like, what are you expecting there? Nature to reclaim it?
Plastic.
Yeah, but
that is-
famously biodegradable
Yes.
plastic.
Yes.
No, this shard of plastic sign that is 6 feet across is obviously going to get washed away the next light rain. Well, it was fun working with Glenn though. Like, I would be working with him some days, and then he'd be like, very serious tone. He'd be like, Sean, I need you back here. And I walk into the back room, and he's just standing there, like with his balls out.
Is that a potato?
Yeah. It looked like a hairy potato. I don't know if it was like when he was like banished to the faraway store or whether he had quit at that point, but like I hadn't seen him in a while, and he wandered into the store that I was working at, and he's like, Sean! And he weighed like over 300 pounds at that point.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
He was a big boy. That was like when he gained all that weight.
Mm-hmm.
And he just runs up and then he jumps on me and like clings to me. And I just go, like I didn't fall backwards. He just like jumped on me like a monkey and then he gets down and he's like, hey man, I'm over 300 pounds. That's pretty good. Like, God damn it. I'm like, I think I broke every bone in my body.
Oh, those were the days, though. I remember it was my birthday, and we went and we played, what was it, laser tag? We were drinking in the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
And you got the phone call. Like,
No, I didn't get a phone call.
I thought you got a phone call calling you into work.
No. Because our manager was there. Scott got a phone call.
I thought he was at
He was
work.
no.
Oh.
We were all at the laser tag place.
I don't remember. I was really
We
drunk.
were all okay. So we were all at the laser tag place for your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
It was you, me, your then husband, and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your other friend that Scott had slept with at some point and then completely forgot what her name was.
I think it was that night.
He gets a phone call from the other midnight person who was another girl that he was boning at the time.
Uh-huh.
And she had called in for whatever reason.
She had slipped on ice and twisted her knee. That I remember.
Yeah, she calls in for whatever reason, and then Scott just turns to me and he goes, "You got to go into work tonight."
And this, mind you, this is
Well, it
after
wasn't even-
we had been drinking.
And it wasn't even like that. It was like I'm like talking about going to the bar after this.
Yes,
and
because there
he's
was a bar right
and
across the
And he
street.
literally goes, and this is because he's an asshole. He's got a grin on his face, and he goes, "You're not going to the bar." And I go, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "You're going into work." I'm like, "I don't work tonight. I took tonight off." Well, Danielle just called in. Like a huge fucking argument broke out. And then it's like, by that point, like I went into work because I was so pissed off. My night was ruined anyway.
Right,
And it's like, I'm not hanging out with this fucking douchebag for the rest of the night.
right.
I basically went into work out of spite.
Out of spite, yep.
But it's like that shit fucking pissed
Yeah.
me off. There was one time where like I called in sick, like I had like 102-degree fever. He's like, "Let me call you back." And instead of calling anybody to cover my shift, he calls the owner. And then he calls me back and he goes, "Okay, you're coming into work and the store is going to be spotless by the time morning shift comes in, or you're fucking fired."
Yeah.
And I go, "Look, Scott,
Wasn't I the morning shift at that point?
I'll come in, but the store's going to look like shit because I have a fever of 102 and I can barely move." He's like, "You don't sound sick." I'm like, "Well, I just took my fucking temperature, asshole."
Yeah, but that, I mean,
And then he immediately backed down.
yeah, that's the way it was there. Like, it's especially with him. Like, you could never be sick. You could never call in on him because he would not work
Yeah.
for anyone.
But it's like if you go on Reddit, there like stories like that are like a dime a dozen of just like people who are basically like at the bottom rung of fucking life, and they get like a slight monicum of power, and then they just fucking abuse the shit out of it. That guy in particular was a guy who would like who relished in the idea of being able to fire somebody. And it's like, what kind of an asshole are you? Like, the only reason why somebody takes a job like this in the first place is out of sheer desperation.
I know what kind of an asshole he is. He's the one who stands outside of polling stations on voting day. Doing surveys for Alex Jones.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a lot of interesting conversations, but I'm not going to go into any of those unless I end up having him on the podcast at some point.
Right.
Because somehow I'm still friends with him, even though like he's the kind of guy that's like, yeah, he's fun to hang out with, but I am never going to work for him ever again.
Right. No, and honestly, he thankfully he and I were peers, so I didn't have to deal with his bullshit like the way you had to. But I always, due to the dynamic in that place, I also was getting screwed over kind of on a regular basis because I had tits.
Yeah.
You know, but it is what it is. I lived through it.
Remember Danielle's cold sore?
Oh, God.
How that thing would flare up every year and just be seeping. And
I still somehow blame Scott for that one, too.
No, there was a lot of good that happened in 7-Eleven, too. It wasn't, I mean, most of the time it was miserable,
well,
but...
it's an easy job, at least.
Well,
No, it's
depending on who you work for. We worked for a guy who expected way too much out of employees that he was only paying $8 an hour for.
And that's the problem, because it's all easy. You can just stack on tasks.
And that was like one of the reasons why I ultimately left, is because I couldn't get out of making $8.50. That was like the most. That was my ceiling. There was $8.50 an hour, and this was back in 11 years ago when I quit.
I was going to say, yeah.
I think I worked there on and off from 2006 to like 2013.
Yeah, I started in 2005. I think I quit. Did I quit before or after you did?
I think you might have quit. I think you quit after me, because like after I left, there was kind of an exodus. Chris left just before I did, but that's for reasons we're not going to discuss on the podcast.
Correct.
Why not?
Because
we're not going to discuss it on the podcast.
Who's Chris?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, you said his name. Your audience wants to know now.
Chris
you
is,
want to know.
Who is Chris?
Chris is a guy that we worked with.
Yeah.
And
Oh, he was the one that was diddling kids.
no.
Wait, which one was diddling kids?
Nobody
diddled kids.
It was Chris.
We did have a suicide though.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
No,
story?
I do not. I'm just trying to.
I want to hear about it.
I'm trying to think of all the different things. We did have
Like in the store, suicide?
somebody that worked there ended up committing suicide.
Wait, which one?
Can I talk about it if you're not willing to talk about it?
The one on 16?
I'm not putting you on blast or anything.
You're totally going to put me on blast because it was totally blamed on me.
Yeah, I know, but there's a reason why I want to bring it up.
All right, go ahead.
Just before I started working there, they had hired a guy who was I'm assuming he was like a misogynist prick.
Yeah.
And Jess trained him, and how long did he work there?
Not more than a couple of weeks.
So he works there for a couple of weeks. Jess trains him.
Side note, I was a very, very good trainer.
Yes.
I was a very good trainer. I was a good boss, too.
I'll get to that. So he works there for a couple of weeks. Jess trains him. He unalives himself after 3 weeks. I go in for an interview. My friend Jay ends up getting me this interview. And the owner of the store
did not want to hire you.
Did not want to hire me at all. The interview went so bad because I had worked at a 7-Eleven previously for about a year. He didn't think very highly of that particular store. He ended up actually calling the manager, who was like an 80-year-old woman who also didn't like me because my friend's uncle owned the store, and she thought that I got away with too much. So she ends up, illegally might I add, telling him not to hire me. Then it just becomes this like big thing where like I end up getting in my car, just driving. I'm like just driving up and down 16 Mile.
Wait, what are the rules for that?
What are the rules?
Is it that it's that the only question they're allowed to ask is, would you hire them or again, or
you can ask about their attendance. You can ask about their attendance if they like stole anything from you. Basically, like would you rehire them again?
Well, I mean, like the funny thing is, like I would never hire that old lady because she was awful at her job. Like, and like the only reason why she was working there to begin with is because then she got to punch in her own numbers on the lotto machine. I'm serious. She was retired. She didn't even need to work, and she was just there so she can get her numbers in easier.
That doesn't surprise me.
And
And yet a 7-Eleven cured me of ever wanting to gamble
Like,
ever.
like she couldn't physically do anything. She couldn't stock anything. She couldn't clean anything. All she did was run register. And in fact, there were times like after I had worked there, I had gone in and then she would ask me to help her do stuff. Like I would have to like hook up like syrups in the back for her because she couldn't physically do the job. And then she just turns around, I wouldn't hire him. So I was like super pissed off. I ended up telling my mom about it. And then like mom being mom ends up going to the store to confront her, which is
Oh no, I didn't know about this.
which is embarrassing and sweet and hilarious all at the same time.
She was rough.
The owner ended up calling Jay, who got me the interview in the first place, and was like basically, look, if you vouch for him, I'll hire him, but he's your responsibility,
Yes.
and if I fire him, then it's going to be your ass, and da 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 da. And Jay's like, okay. Hire him. I'll take on the responsibility. It's fine. His last ditch effort, like because like everybody's like playing ball to get me in at this point, except for him. His last ditch effort is, well, there's the whole incident with Jess, and we already said that she's not going to train anybody else because we're afraid of this happening again.
What?
Damn.
Suicide?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they blamed her. They blamed her for it.
Yes, they blame me for it.
Why did he leave a note?
No, I don't think so.
I can't take it at 7-Eleven
So-
anymore.
So his last ditch effort to get rid of me was to have Jess train me. And this is the funniest part. I go in, Jess asks me some rudimentary questions. Have you ever worked at a 7-Eleven before? Yes. Do you know how to run a register? Yes. Okay, we're good. Start ringing people up. Okay. And then like anything else that I needed to know, any other questions I had, I would just ask her and she would answer and it was fine. Like I was probably one of the easiest people for Jess to train. And then like my entire time there was like this weird uphill battle to gain respect from the owner and from the managers. And it was weird
Yeah.
because it's like, why am I fighting for respect at this job? Like this shit fuck job. But at that point, I had no education and I had no prospects. So
I don't
Yeah.
understand all these empty threats. Oh, it'll be your ass. What are they talking about? They can't do anything.
he
Well,
could have fired him.
You could have fired him.
They don't fire anyone.
Well, he
there.
was. I think
Depends
I,
on how much
I
he
think
owns
might have.
them.
I think
Yeah.
Jay.
When I walked into the one
He-
7-Eleven, and there was a woman working in there. This is like recently, probably like a year ago. The one by my house, my old house at 16 and Groesbeck. And like I heard her bitching
don't give the
about
cross streets.
why nobody's.
I know nobody's listening, but you do that just in case.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that means. But
Just in case we go viral,
yeah.
like coronavirus.
But one
Right
time I
now, it's
walked
just
in there-
relegated to Wuhan.
The one time I walked in there, I
Write
heard her
that down
bitching
anyway.
about like another employee, like some other chick, and I kind of had an idea just from hearing her bitch that the other chick was like a black chick. And like the second time I walk in there, like a week later, as I'm walking in, I hear her talking to another employee saying, "And if you just look it up in the dictionary, it just means ignorant." So I knew it exactly.
God.
Like every time you always heard boomers say that about
Yeah.
the N word. Why can't I say the N word? If you look it up in the dictionary, there's no N word in the dictionary.
Right.
But,
I used to have that conversation with coworkers at 7-Eleven. Obviously not Jess, but like there's probably like 5 or 6 other people that
Yeah.
we've had that I've had that conversation with.
Well, the area that we worked in was more of a depressed area. There was Section 8 housing and
I found every time that I worked at 7-Eleven to be depressing.
right.
Well, the one that I was talking about, you had the trailer park behind it, and like the
yeah,
Section 8 apartments that were
Apartments
like on the other
and-
side.
yeah.
And but like that chick
And there's a
finally got
stigma
fired.
that unfortunately goes along with that.
Well, the trailer park behind that 7-Eleven, that's where that guy cut up his girlfriend and
Oh yeah.
I forgot somebody. Did he kill 2 people or just one?
Well, no, he didn't kill. I think it was the brother, and he killed his sister and her boyfriend.
and her boyfriend,
okay.
and
Yeah,
hid them in
chopped
the
them up.
shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, in trash bags.
In trash
and then tried to like take a bus somewhere, and then they
I
ended
think
up
they
picking
found him in Ohio.
Yeah, maybe.
Which also, just knowing crime statistics too, that sounds like, oh, the neighborhood's going to shit. But crimes like that, like it's not like the guy was targeting the public,
Right.
and it's it was a solitary incident.
Yeah.
And really, it's not
And
a
I-
threat to
I
anyone
I think
else.
it was brought. I think he had a psychotic break, if I remember correctly.
But yeah,
That would
that
make
was the
sense.
type
Yeah.
of area. But like going back on the chick though, it was like 2 more weeks before they finally fired her. So all I heard about going in there to buy my cigarettes was people complaining about her talking about getting into constant verbal fights with a black woman, her admitting that she called her an N-word, and then they finally let her go after a month. So it's like anyone can walk into a 7-Eleven and see the type of people they hire. Nobody gets fired. Like you really have to do a lot to get fired from.
It takes a lot, but it. I mean, usually it's theft or a physical altercation.
Yeah.
Like most of the people got fired for theft, and then I know one person got fired for getting into a fist fight with a customer.
Like even what's his name, the boss you were complaining about. Like I can imagine him going to the owner of the store, him complaining, "Hey, I noticed that 6 of my employees are all getting massive overtime, which is cutting into my profits. Why is that? Well, I fired Sean because he gave me an attitude." You did what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so now I've got to lose money because you can't handle one employee.
That was one
So-
of the funny things about it, though, is he would constantly threaten to fire people, and he did not have the authority to do so.
He did
like
not.
he was a manager, but it was made clear to him that he is not allowed to fire anybody.
But
Oh,
he
wow.
made it an art form to torture people until they quit, though.
Yes, yes, he did.
But I mean, that'd be like the thing. You can also just tell him, go fuck yourself and show
Yeah.
up and keep doing, what's on your job description and be
Mm-hmm.
fine with it.
But he would make it insufferable for you, and you would quit.
you
Yeah,
could just
he
slash
had,
his tires.
Yeah, if he had a car. He also lived in the trailer park, so he could have just walked to work, which is what he did most of the time anyway.
Well, you slash the tires on his house.
Well, Shannon, do you have any service industry stories, or are you just chilling right now?
Kind of chilling. Kind of thinking about the porn shop. Trying to remember if there's anything.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, she's
Nothing
got
very-
stories.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing
Porn
very
shop.
eventful like what you guys had.
Have you ever
nobody-
had anyone queef in your mouth, like on accident?
Oh yeah.
Does it have a taste?
It has an air about it.
The taste of queef.
That is not.
Yeah, it's not a queef.
No.
No.
That would not be in my mouth. Neither would that.
That one just kind of cuts off.
Now, butthole queefs sound like that, but
That makes sense.
Yeah, but when it came to working at the 7-Eleven, you just got to the point where you just couldn't take it anymore. And I know that happened with you, Sean. Like, I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember that happening.
Yeah. Well, also if you get robbed enough times, you kind of
Yeah.
have enough of that shit too.
Yeah.
So.
And that happened with you, Sean. Like, I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember that happening.
Yeah. Well, also if you get robbed enough times, you kind of
Yeah.
have enough of that shit too.
Yeah.
So.
And,
And
you
I
know.
think there was like one point where like I was probably robbed more than anybody else in the store.
Yeah. I think,
Like I
yeah.
had like four incidents.
I'd be like, I would give them everything. I'd be offering stuff
Yeah.
just to
well,
get
like,
even with 7-Eleven because you can't get in
So-
trouble for it.
So like
Like, you want all these cigarettes too?
Well,
I
okay.
get your money for you. You go ahead and help yourself to those candy bars.
So the first time I got robbed, it was a very by the book thing. Guy threatened, didn't show me a gun, but threatened to shoot me. Was very angry about it. So I did what the 7-Eleven handbook says. I gave him all the money. It turns out I'm a terrible witness. And I still had to finish out my shift, which was bullshit.
Yep.
Like nobody, if you work for a place that insists that you finish out your shift after you get robbed, quit.
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
That
if
is
you
sage advice.
I talked to a guy who used to manage a bank. He said if there's a bank robbery there, the bank has to offer psychiatry or whatever counseling.
Counseling.
People
Because
like
it's
you basically are
traumatic.
treated as if you now have PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I end up getting off of my shift at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm like at my mom's place because I'm like trying to calm down. And then I get a call from the detective who starts asking me a bunch of questions, basically interrogating me over the phone. And at one point, because I'm such a bad witness, he ends up accusing me of being in on it. And at that point, I had no more interest in dealing with the police.
Yeah.
So it was like he would be like calling me, trying to get me to go to the station to look at pictures, and then like he would be like eventually like he there was like one point where I went to the station to look at pictures and he just wasn't there. And then like he basically I think I think it was like 2 or 3 times that happened. And then like finally he was there and like he showed up and like we're just like standing there in the like next to the front counter in the police station and he's showing me pictures and like none of them looked like the guy. And then a week later he shows up at my house with like another detective to show me more pictures and it's like, well, we just picked up a guy. And I'm like looking at the set of pictures and there's like one guy that's different. And I'm like, none of them look like the guy. And he's like, are you sure this? He literally did this. He goes, are you sure this wasn't the guy? And he pointed at the guy that they just picked up. And I go, I'm sure that that's not the guy. It looks nothing like him other than the fact that they're both black.
All right.
And then that was the last I heard. Whoa. So I don't know if they ever got the guy. Probably not. At this point, I don't care. But it's like, oh, now you just showed up to pin another crime to try to close a case and pin another crime on some other asshole. Like I'm not feeding into that shit.
Right.
That's another reason to when people buy cigarettes to scan their IDs. Like 7-Eleven has that policy, but they don't always practice it. But there was a guy that robbed the 7-Eleven by me, and when they were looking at the footage, the girl on the day shift went, oh, I know that guy. He comes in all the time to buy cigarettes. And they're like, do you remember what time? And they were able to pinpoint the time, and she scanned his ID. And he lived in the HUD housing, those apartments that are right on the other side of 16 Mile Road. Yeah, that's where he lived. Okay. Yeah. And, and they picked him up right away. He didn't wear a mask or anything.
Yeah. Like,
they all look alike.
Yeah. Like, what else? Should I go through all my robbery stories?
I didn't know you were robbed that many times.
Well, okay. So the second one...
The guy that made you suck his dick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, the guy who he didn't even take any money out of the door. He just bricked in my fucking
he held
mouth.
a gun to your head and he blew you.
Oh, God damn it. I got to get better with these buttons. But so the second time was more of an incident because he didn't get a chance to rob me. So it was like this weird situation where like I'm at the other store. And the way that store is set up is that like there's a back room that has like a 2-way mirror in it. So I hear the bell go off. So I think somebody's in the store. I was like stocking or something. So I come up to the front desk, and then I just see some guy in the window smoking a cigarette, but his back is turned to the window. I'm like, huh, that's weird. And then without even turning around, he just reaches over to the door and flicks it open to make the bell go off again. So I go, that's not right. So I just go in the back room to see what he's doing. And then he turns around, and he's got a bandana tied around his face, like a straight up bandana. You know, and it's like it was like the middle of winter, but like it wasn't like a scarf or anything. It was a bandana. It was like a handkerchief.
Was he doing it to see what type of person was in the store?
I don't know.
Like if it was a short little girl, then he would do the robbery.
So I am now in the back room just looking at him through the 2-way mirror to see what he does. And he turns around, he doesn't see anybody in the store, and he's just kind of looking around. And I'm like, I'm just going to call 911.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call the cops on this guy. So I call the cops. And as I'm waiting there, he refuses to enter the store, but he keeps opening the door, trying to get somebody to come up to the counter. And it was the fucking bandana. Like that's not like you walk up to a store wearing a bandana tied around your face. Like it wasn't. It was not doing anything for warmth.
Right.
It's like this is
Anytime
like it's like can you make it more obvious? You look like you're about to rob a train in the
Yeah,
1800s.
out of just like respect for like the people, like if I go into a 7-Eleven or any store when I have my face mask on, like during winter, I pull it down before I even enter the store.
Yeah.
Because like it just looks suspicious if you don't. Like,
Yep.
So then then the cops roll up, and the second the cops roll up, he fucking runs, and they fucking chase him down and like arrest him or whatever. Then they end up having canine units there looking for whatever he tossed because he tossed something.
Oh wow.
So they were like looking for what they thought was a gun, and I never found out like anything on that other than like years and years later, this guy comes in who looked like a meth head, and he's
Pretty
telling me
typical
this
for that
story
store.
about how somebody called the cops on him one night, and this and that, and he's like trying to get information out of me as to like who might have been working at that point, and I'm like, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. But it's like, oh, okay, so this guy's like coming back for fucking revenge after he got caught trying to rob a store.
Right.
And it's like also like, why would you fucking come back?
Yep.
Like if they're calling the cops on you. And like he was like even making weird excuses to me because like I'm not like engaging with his story at all, but he's making weird excuses to me where he's like, I was wearing a bandana around my face because it was cold. And I was like,
Sure.
because that's what a normal person does. Like there's like,
did he say he got arrested?
yeah.
But did he say for what?
No, he didn't tell me what he
Or
got
that
arrested
he
for.
did time or anything?
I don't know.
Well, I know they don't like when you hang out in front of the store.
Like
Period.
they could have got him for loitering at the very least, but they obviously
you would have to-
they arrested him.
You would have to make that.
So it's like even if he wasn't intending on robbing the store, they would have stopped him for loitering.
Did they even arrest him though?
Yes.
He might have had
Yes,
a warrant.
they
for
had to have
something else.
charged him.
They probably charged him for resisting because he ran.
Oh, okay.
Like he ran and he chucked something. So I know he got charged with something.
How did they even? I mean, in my opinion, if you're on foot, especially if you see the cops pulling up, especially like in that area, it'd be to me, it'd be impossible to get caught. You can just duck behind so much stuff.
Yeah.
You can hop that fence, get right on the railroad tracks, and just like they would.
No, this was
find you.
this was a different 7-Eleven.
Oh, okay.
This was the one on by the mall.
Yeah. But yeah, cops like their run time is like what 120 seconds best, and then they're out of gas because I've had to do that training when I was a cop in the Navy, and when you run with that stupid belt and it's going
Right.
like bouncing on your hips like that, and it's a bitch. Like cops do not want to run. Most of them
Right.
are out of shape to begin with, but
Round is a shape.
yeah,
I mean, like the cops that came into the store though were really cool.
Yeah.
there's no such thing.
I mean, no, we gave them drinks, so they were really cool.
Oh yeah.
The cops the cops that would come into the store were our friends basically. So like there was like one time I was like out drinking with my friends and we were like wandering around a neighborhood at like 3:00 in the morning, and then the cops rolled up on us and like searched us and everything, and then it's like, and like I'm like super drunk, and I'm just like, yeah, I work at the 7-Eleven at 6 at what I almost said that I
You
almost
almost
said the
said
cross street, and then the cop's like, oh yeah, because he recognized me, and he's like, well, if you see any like we got calls of like suspicious behavior and da da da, so if you see anybody on your walk, suspicious, give us a call and da da da. I'm like, will do, officer. Like I'm like super hammered. So and then the third incident was the robbery that I stopped, which
I still never saw the video of.
I never saw the video of it either.
Everybody else got to see it.
Everybody else got to see it. I don't know what happened to the video. I never got to
Turned
see
in as
it.
evidence.
Yeah, I know, but like you think that like somebody would have made a copy or something,
Yeah.
because like I never saw the owner more excited about anything in his
Oh
life.
my god.
It's weird because the owner is like this Indian guy who's like very stern and very serious, and like he had an extremely dry sense of humor. Like so dry that like you don't know that he has a sense of humor. There was one time where he came up to me. He's like, "Hey Sean, do you smoke?" I go, "Yeah, I think at the time I had quit." Can you close the door?
Is it raining?
Welcome to Raincast. That's not going to shut the door.
I got it, Sean.
Here, I'll pause the recording. Where was I? There was more technical difficulties. So he's like, "Do you smoke?" And at the time, I had just quit smoking, and I'm like, "No, I used to." He's like, "When you did you put a little extra, you know?" And I'm like, "No, I don't do any of that." "Maybe you should." And I'm like, "Did my boss just tell me to get high?"
I mean, who ever heard of that? A 7-Eleven employee
Oh yeah.
using drugs. Like,
But yeah, so he was like always like really like stern, serious. So there was this the third incident was like it was in the middle of the summer and it was like early in the shift, and this like super busy in the store. This guy comes in wearing a leather jacket, which immediately is like raising suspicion. And I notice as
like
I'm
a
like,
greaser jacket?
no, it was just a leather jacket.
Oh, I'm just wondering, like, by
I mean, every leather jacket's a greaser jacket if you try hard enough.
well, I mean, did he look like a 50s hood?
No, he looked like a meth addict wearing a
Like a
leather
duster?
jacket. No, that's a regular ass leather jacket.
How do you know he wasn't a Matrix?
Because he wasn't wearing a duster or a trench coat.
Do they have a name for them, what they do?
What?
The Matrix people?
Edgelords. What?
You know what I mean? Like, they have a name. Like, we're, I guess,
The
they're
time
like-
police or whatever.
they're like hackers, but like, they come up with their own term for what they do.
I don't know. We'll workshop it. I don't think they're organized enough to have a name.
You know what I never understood about the Matrix is like you go into the Matrix, right? And you just appear with like why do they all have the same style?
Because it's supposed to be set in the time.
No, because it's the Matrix. So they can technically arrive in the Matrix in a dress, anything they want. But they all choose to wear black dusters and all this like leather and like
I figured they
Cyberpunk.
chose that. I figured they chose that. 'Cause They
Right.
look like badasses, right?
I
Right,
guess
maybe as
to
an
them, but they
identifier.
all have the same interests and
Yeah.
fashion likes.
I'm guessing it's like motorcycle gear where it's got a heavy leather to it. It's more like kind of like an armor.
Oh my God, Shannon's talking.
And once you're out of the Matrix, when you go back in, can you alter your body appearance?
No. Like when you go in, you should be able
Yeah,
to
you would
alter
think.
it going into the Matrix.
The one thing I always thought about is like if I was like one of those hackers that got unplugged from the Matrix, like would I still be fat coming out of that pod?
No, probably not.
But like imagine if you were. Like that, like what kind of a ripoff would that be? It's like, oh yeah, no, like it turns out like they've been like shoving like more recycled dead people into me to make me
Yeah.
to make me fatter.
For no reason.
For no reason,
That's
yeah.
what I mean. It wouldn't be efficient for them to do that. Everyone would just get enough of the recycled dead just to
Yeah.
keep them
the
alive.
Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it's like, or like if somebody's like a paraplegic, and then they get taken out of the Matrix and their legs still don't work. It's like
That's
fucking
another thing.
ripoff.
When you're in the Matrix, everything you know, your senses, how you see, smell, all that stuff, is all coded. It's what the robots think everything should taste like, smell like,
Yep.
etc., and feel like.
What
So
about
when you're out of the Matrix?
What about the smell? If there is
is
such a thing.
But like, if it would have been a cool thing to where Neo comes out of the Matrix and his first steps, he's like, "Whoa, that feels weird."
I don't think he'd be able to walk, to be honest.
Probably, well, yeah, atrophy.
Atrophy.
Yeah.
But unless they have stimulants, like they're hooked up, so it gives them little zaps to keep their muscles like.
It would have to, but would that really?
But I'm just saying, like a step in the real world would very much might feel off from this your how everything feels when you walk or move around.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
it could be
Matrix.
because they don't know how.
Yeah,
it's
it's just what they think everything should feel like.
to a point though. The other part is like where you're hardwired for feeling certain things a certain way anyway, and so you're still processing and perceiving. So it might not be that different because of the way that, the neurons all develop in general for everybody. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's kind of like if you are walking on like a floor that has like an incline that's not perceivable like to the eye, but
Right.
your body kind of feels like there's the gravity, like something's
Right.
off. Like you
Right.
feel like you're on an angle even though you're not.
Well, you definitely wouldn't. So that raises a really good point. You really wouldn't know gravity and what it feels like against that perception of your inner gyroscope, that
Yeah,
controls all your
yeah.
balance and stuff. So that alone, I think you're dead on. Like, it would be fucked up for so many reasons. He should have just tumbled to his death, to be realistic. Like, as soon as he tried to stand up, he just would have plopped out of that sack.
Oh yeah.
And he just would have been falling for eternity or whatever.
So you know how you get frustrated when you're listening to the podcast because we go off topic?
This is because I started talking, isn't it?
No, it was because Louis started talking. He's like, I'm bored with this fucking robbery shit.
Yep.
I want to talk about the Matrix.
And I have only
You said a guy who looked like a Matrix man.
No, I didn't. I said a guy wearing a leather jacket, and you said like
that
the Matrix.
where the lead-in
The
was?
Matrix?
Like, wow.
Oh,
Like
okay.
he
a guy
connected.
who looked like
he
the
connected,
Fonz.
Yeah. Whoa. Hey.
the
Sound effect.
Hey, I'm here to rob you so I can buy more crack. Hey.
And he just hits the cash register.
Yeah, and it opens. So he's like, I'm like taking care. Back to the story. I'm taking care of like this huge line of customers, and he is like over by the Slurpees, just staring at me. And I kind of look over, and then he immediately does this thing where he's like, "Oh, it's Twizzlers." This is like I was looking at the Twizzler, like making it really obvious. So it's like this motherfucker's gonna rob me. And then he goes and he gets a 12-pack of Bud Light. And he gets
Do you have a button that you can push?
okay. You want to hear about the button? You push the button, and here's what happens. After 15 minutes, the cops call you and ask you if everything's all right. That's what the button does. The button doesn't get police over there. The button is basically useless. You
should
hit
probably-
the button, they call you after 15 minutes, and then they charge the store a shitload.
Yeah, you should also bring up too that one of the locations is literally a 2-minute walk from the police station.
Yes.
That's where this was.
Yeah.
So I'll get to that. So he's at the end of the line, and every time somebody comes up, he lets them go ahead of him, and it gets to the person right before him, and he's like obviously leaning over to see how much money I have in the till, and I didn't get a chance to do a safe drop yet, so there was like a bunch. So then it comes up to him, and I scan his beer, and he hands me $15, and I go, okay, maybe this guy's just weird. And then the second the drawer opens, he dramatically slides everything off of the counter and jumps over and starts going for the till. And at that point, I'm remembering me getting accused of like that first robbery. So I put my forearm into his throat, and he looks at me, and I'm like pushing him back, and he looks at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" Because like I'm the one robbing him. Mm-hmm. So then we start like throwing each other into the counter, into the cigarettes, and then he gets close enough to the till, and he gets his hands in, and I slam it shut, trying to slam it on his hands. And then a $10 bill's hanging out, and he grabs it and tries getting back over the counter, which is funny because if he left at that point, he would have been down $5.
because you still had the 15.
Yes. So I get him in a headlock, and he's like halfway over the counter, while I'm just trying to choke him. The bouncer from the bar next door comes in, completely oblivious to the situation, goes over to the ATM, uses the ATM, walks back. We make eye contact, and he fucks off. Mm-hmm. So, and then like I confronted him later on, and he's like, "Fuck, I don't work here." It's like, you're a piece of shit. So I look towards the cooler, and there's still customers in the store. And the one guy's like, "You need some help?" And I go, "Yeah, that'd be nice." He comes over. I'm like, "Yeah, just come back behind the counter. It's fine." He comes back. We pull the guy back, slam him on the ground, and then the guy gets him like just like all wrapped up. Like the guy cannot move. At which point Scott, who we mentioned earlier, comes running into the store because he was at the bar next door.
Bar.
And he sees the guy, recognizes the guy, because the guy hung out with his brother, and he's like, "Dude, you are fucked." And I've never seen Scott so excited about anything in his life. So he starts calling the cops, but the cops were already called because all the customers that I had helped, that huge line, they were all standing in the parking lot watching all this happen.
Watching everything go down.
And they already called the cops. So they were just had their shift change. So you had about 12 cops in like 7 cop cars all pull into the 7-Eleven. They run in. We let the guy go. He gets halfway over the counter again. They tackle him back and just proceed to start beating the shit out of the guy. And then, and I still have a bald spot in my scalp to this day from where he was pulling my hair because I had long, luxurious hair the entire time. And he was pulling my hair the entire time. So I'm like calming down, and I just like run my hand through my hair, and this big clump comes out. I'm like, God damn it. And then my scalp hurt for like 3 weeks after that. And the store opened back up almost immediately after like the cops took statements and shit. And then the owner comes in, and the owner, the manager, and like 2 cops were in the back watching the video while I was helping customers again because the store was already reopened. And I didn't get to see the video, but I get to hear the reaction to it. So they're just in the back, and I just hear them go, "Oh, shit."
See, that's such a dumb way to rob, too. Like, I could see doing that if it was like a short, like, 20-year-old woman, right? But you can get, if he handed you a note, isn't it like, "I have a gun, give me all your money" type of thing? Like, wouldn't you almost have to?
Yeah.
And
Not almost, absolutely, because I value my life more than I give
right, yeah.
Yeah.
any kind of 2 shits about.
Like, he essentially
so.
tried to strong arm you, but
Yes.
you're a
Yes.
6'1"
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So like the other person who worked midnights was like a tiny girl.
Yeah.
And it's like and he was he lived in the area.
Lived in the area. And
So-
What time did he try doing this?
He did this at around 11 o'clock at night.
Which is the worst, like 3 in the morning.
So
like,
I mean like it would have
That
been
store was also busy all the time.
I
I mean, yeah,
it was actually a pretty good shot for him because that would have been the most money he could have gotten out of the store.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a chance to do a safe drop yet. I didn't have time to like take like all my bills and drop them into the safe.
Because at that point you couldn't just put it in an envelope and drop it in the safe. You had to feed it 1 bill at a time.
Yeah. And
What a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
yes. So yeah, it was so the 4th one guy comes in, and he had been robbing the store for like several weeks at that point.
the same one.
Same
Yeah,
store, same thing. He
Same
would come
time,
in,
same day of the week.
he would come in, he would ask for a pack of Newports.
I thought it was Newport 100s.
Yeah, Newport 100s. And when you turn back around, there would be a note on the counter, "All the money, don't make me shoot you."
So he was just using the store like an ATM.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'd be on his way to the grocery store. I gotta get some money.
Yeah,
So he-
because he
So-
was doing it
did he
at
drive up or
like,
did he
No,
walk
no,
up?
he walked up.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's smart.
So, well, it turns out not really, and we'll get to that because Jess has more insight onto this whole story. But
Well, I mean, it's not smart to rob the same place.
No.
But you
Weekly.
never park your getaway car in front of the joint.
We'll get to that. So, so yeah, he gives me the note, and I just give him a look because I know I I know he was like robbing the store, and he was also like coming in at different times because I recognized him from earlier in the day.
Yep.
And I just give him a look, and I go, seriously? And he's just like his adrenaline's up, and he's just like nodding, and I'm like, all right. And I open the drawer, hand him the money, and then he's like, cigarettes?
He
And
got, he
and
got
then I
2 packs of cigarettes. It wasn't a single pack of
no.
cigarettes.
I gave
Oh,
him one. I gave him
you
one
only
pack
gave him
of
one?
cigarettes, and
He did ask for 2 every time.
I threw them at him, and then he left. And then I caught shit for that because I didn't kick his ass. Because I'm supposed to be the guy who stops robberies.
Yeah, you had set the
Whatever.
standard.
How much would he get did he rob at different times of the day or?
No, what was it? $120.
That's the thing. It's
It's outside.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
in the
I,
garage.
I like if you were gonna rob, like you're not going anywhere with 7-Eleven money.
No, you're
You're
not.
not skipping town on it, or you know what I mean. Like,
So, Jess, tell us, give us more insight onto this particular guy and how he got caught.
what was his name?
We don't know his
remember.
name.
I don't remember. I'm sure I did at some point, but I don't remember.
Your hand, Flandel Snoot.
Joran Vandersloot.
Yes,
The same
So-
guy who,
knife
what was that?
raped.
Yeah.
So
That was
when
Richard Clock.
Oh, well.
when he was robbing the store, he was on foot, and after he would rob the store, the cops would immediately come. Obviously there's 5-minute delay, whatever, but the cops would immediately come. They would do fingerprinting, and that stuff makes a huge mess. And they
And also they never get anything usable.
no,
Yeah,
never.
never.
Well, I mean, how many people go through there and touch the counter, regardless?
That's a tip, by the way. If you keep your gun well oiled, even if you drop that gun, I guess assuming this is a Saturday night special, it's not like a gun you have registered in your name.
Oh, okay.
But I had a homicide detective tell me, yeah, we can't get prints off that shit. Just keep your gun clean and well oiled, and your fingerprints will just be smudged up anyway. So even if you touch
That is
that
pretty
gun,
true, yeah.
Makes sense.
Well oiled.
So at one point they even had brought like a canine unit out. Was it the time you got robbed that they brought the canine out, or was it when somebody else? Because
I don't know.
He said they had the canine front.
I know they
So
they have
I was like the
the
third after the third of 4 robberies. Well, the last
But it
one
was
a
always-
robbery attempt.
Yeah,
We'll
it
get to
was. Yeah, it was always different people that he robbed because obviously our schedule's always shuffled. But they had brought the canine out, and the dog actually alerted at the dumpster, and they pulled the dog away, thinking the dog was just smelling food and waste that was in the dumpster. And it turns out after the 4th robbery, which got foiled, we found out that is exactly what he was doing. He was robbing the store. He was going to the dumpster and hiding in the dumpster till the coast was clear and walking home because he lived behind the store.
why wouldn't he just keep going?
Keep going home,
Like,
or
yeah, or like, just run a mile out of the way, but why crawl into a dumpster and wait?
well, obviously it worked.
I get cops are that dumb, yeah.
Yeah, it obviously worked because they didn't find him in the dumpster.
So he was
any of
there the whole
times.
time when the
He
cops
was
would show
there
up.
the whole time.
So his big fuck up was he would come in earlier in the store, and he was a young guy. So he would come in earlier in the
He would
day.
get carded.
He would buy a pack of cigarettes. He would be carded. We would have to scan his ID.
Yeah.
So because he robbed different people every time, half of the store knew who he was because he robbed half of the store at this point.
And he was black.
And
So you're racist.
because he robbed the store,
Sorry.
He was just getting his reparations.
From the 7-Eleven.
Right.
right, that takes care of that.
Did you just mute him?
Yes. So he's probably just
You're
going to
in
shove you out of the way. Yeah, he he's like blowing into the microphone. It's like, oh well. So we scanned his ID. So like eventually we got his information, and then I think Val was working.
It was Val.
that night, and like I think she was a manager at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes to rob her, and she proceeds to do, in my opinion, the dumbest fucking thing anybody can do. Which was, let me see the gun. I'm not giving you money unless I see the gun.
Yep.
Which is, if you ever get robbed, don't do
that.
Because if they have a gun, they will then kill you.
Yes.
They will just shoot you.
PSA.
Also, funny story, when he got caught, I believe he got charged for armed robbery, even though he didn't have a gun.
He never had a gun, but he
Because-
Threatened
absolutely
to have
did.
a gun, they charge you for armed.
Yes.
Yep.
So he got charged for armed robbery, not having a weapon.
Yeah, if you imply you have a weapon, it's armed robbery.
You can speak into the mic.
If
You're off punishment
you
now.
imply that you have a weapon, then it's considered
Yes.
armed robbery, no matter what.
And then the guy that tried to strong arm rob me, he had a firearm that he tried to hide after like we had him pinned down.
Wasn't it a BB gun though?
But it was a BB gun, but it's still a firearm. And if he had pulled it, he would have gotten armed robbery.
Mm-hmm.
But because he didn't tell me anything about the gun, and because he didn't pull it on us, and
Yeah.
he was just like slipping it out to hide it, he got unarmed robbery.
You got lucky.
He got really lucky because the prosecutor sent me something in the mail to press assault charges on him.
But you never felt threatened like that.
No, I didn't press charges on him.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so yeah, we had this guy's information. So he tries to rob Val. It doesn't work. He ends up running away with nothing.
Back in the dumpster.
Goes back in the dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
Cops get called.
We
I think
all
it was
got called.
Yeah, we all got phone calls. It was you and me got phone calls.
Scott too,
from
I
Scott.
thought. Yeah.
Well, I think like Scott got the initial call, and then he called us, and then like we all went up to the 7-Eleven, and then like it was the end of Val's shift, so we all took her out for a beer, and
Right.
as we're walking past the dumpster, we're all talking about
Mad shit about this guy.
Oh yeah, we were all talking about how much of a fucking dumb fuck this guy is, and how we have all of his information and shit. As we're walking past the dumpster, so he stays in the dumpster till 5 a.m. and then he goes home, and then the cops pick him up because they have his address because we gave it to him. So that was fun.
So do you think he heard what you guys were saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Then why would he go back home?
because where else is he
Dumb.
gonna go?
I mean, that's the first thing I would do is the second I heard that, I would get home immediately so I can
It's
pack
like
my shit and then
Well, I think there was an instance when the cops did go
I think
and
they might have
pick
had
him
the
up.
dogs at that point too.
I don't recall, but I
was he
do
attractive?
know that
I
he
don't know.
was wearing red shoes, like red Nikes, every time he robbed the store. And when they showed up at the house to pick him up, the shoes were sitting right there by the door. And they used that as like an identifier because I think whomever answered the door was like, I don't know who that is, whatever. But the shoes that he had wore every time he robbed the place were sitting right in the doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like 18, 19 years old. I think he
Yeah.
was a little too young for you even then.
Was he fat?
No.
No.
So he was like attractive then. Do you think some of his robberies were successful because he sort of swooned the 7-Eleven clerk?
He's looking for a fantasy.
I know, he was looking for a
Yeah.
fantasy.
No, if you work at a 7-Eleven, you get
Now
very
I see why you're going to
jaded
the service
He's-
very
industry.
quickly.
Like right now, Louis writing a Chuck Tingle book in his head. Like,
What's that?
I bought you a Chuck Tingle book, didn't I?
It's your pen name.
Chuck Tingle does like like funny satire gay erotica.
No, I never got anything like that from you.
Okay, well our next podcast will be all about Chuck Tingle. Well, I mean, if you didn't get them, then I have them. They're probably floating somewhere around in my Jeep.
Oh God.
Like,
I think if I got
um,
like a cancer diagnosis, I would start I'd probably rob a couple places just for the thrill, because obviously I'm going to die, so who
Yeah.
cares? But
And
I
obviously
always
talk
imagine,
about your future crimes on a podcast.
well, yeah, if I
I'm
get
gonna
cancer
hear about it.
Yeah, but if
diagnosis,
you're dying, it doesn't matter.
yeah. But I would do it like a Batman villain, like get all dressed up or have a tuxedo and tails. And,
Oh. So what? So what's your crime name going to
The
be?
diddler.
No.
Yes,
Don't
please.
do it.
Do it. Diddle all over the place.
The jokeman. That
Aw,
sound
that's
was
awkward.
That was weird. I'm gonna have to fix
brought
that.
back
Wah,
Windows
wah.
3.1 memories.
Yeah.
Isn't that was the sound that would play when you won at the mind game?
Oh my god.
Windows.
Yeah.
The mind game. Yeah, he sounds like an old man.
Talking about
Mind
mine.
game.
Minesweeper?
game.
Minesweeper, yeah.
You know the mind game.
Minesweeper, yeah.
You know
Yeah,
how old
play
I
the
was
mind
before I
game.
figured out
I
that
play
game?
the single player card game.
Yeah. Solo cards.
I play that there pinball game.
I got really good at solitaire because I used to play it on the war computer and when I did security.
I like it.
Then I realized that if you just double click it, it'll automatically put the cards in place, which
Yep.
that's what killed it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can still play it.
Yeah, but you turn your brain off at that point.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like
'Cause you can
looking
just
for
click-
a hint. you
Yeah.
know. Clicky, clicky.
Yeah. You get to that point where it's just like double clicking on everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
I did that more when I was playing with 3 cards, though. 'Cause that shit was annoying.
Yeah.
The Windows pinball
Get
game.
a deck of cards and
good.
play solitaire like a real human being.
I do. Sometimes.
That's what kids today are missing.
I
A
know.
deck of cards.
I swear, though. It's like
I
such
remember when
good
I was a kid,
face-to-face
we all
contact.
went outside and played with a deck of cards.
We drank from the
now they
hose.
got we drank from the hose and we played it with a deck of cards. Kids these days, they have all their cards on their computer.
I miss cards.
All these snowflakes with their computer cards and their Pokemans.
Now you have to accuse everyone of being triggered. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I trigger you? Even though I'm the one ranting, raving.
Yeah. Did I trigger you, snowflakes, when I'm the only one that's special? Oh. So
I just want to say.
who wants to make this into a two-parter?
Well, I mean, you can just we can end it and then just start over.
I have one thing to
Find a new
add.
topic.
I just want to talk about how scary Val was. I didn't know that's who you were talking about. She reminded me of Chrissy.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Val, she was a doll.
she was fine.
No, she reminded me of my crazy ex who actually went to jail for armed robbery, even though she didn't have a gun.
Yeah, but Val's not your ex.
No,
Me
I
and-
know, but
me and
very similar carriage.
Like I remember when
Crazy.
she worked at the 7-Eleven near where we were living at the time, and there was one night where she was walking home, and I was going somewhere, and I'd open up my gate, and I accidentally scared the shit out of her. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And then I ended up working with her a year later.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I guess that was part 1.
Part 2 coming soon.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Maybe.
Like, subscribe, leave a comment.
Not text.
Yes.
No, don't send a text.
Don't send a text, comment.
Like
We have
and
an email
subscribe.
address too. If you want to complain about this, we have an email address, schweethepeople@gmail.com. How about that?
Nice.
Maybe I'll read it on the air.
Is that some of those pictures of your penis, your genitals?
No.
And
the winner gets
Put
a
attention,
$20
Louis.
card to
None,
Speedway.
hey.
Attention, Louis, in the subject line if it is a picture of your penis.
I
it a
don't.
surprise.
I don't know if he has the Gmail. I don't know. If he
Yeah,
has the
but
email.
you won't open it if it says attention, Louis. You can just forward them to him.
I don't even know what his email address is.
Doesn't matter.
I've got 4 or 5 of them.
Pick one.